Chapter 1: The Billion-Dollar Ghost. In 2015, Silicon Valley wasn't excited about AI. It was nervous. The internet had already consolidated into the hands of a few giants. Search belonged to Google. Social belonged to Facebook. Cloud computing was becoming a three-player game. And now, the next technological revolution, artificial intelligence, was shaping up to follow the same pattern. Inside boardrooms and research labs, one fear kept coming up. What happens if one company controls intelligence itself? That's when a group of unlikely allies stepped forward. Entrepreneurs, researchers, and investors led by Sam Altman and Elon Musk announced a new organization with a radical idea. It wouldn't compete to dominate AI. It would protect humanity from domination. They called it OpenAI. The promise was simple and powerful. AI research would be shared openly. No patents to lock knowledge away. No single corporation would control the future. For a moment, it felt like a rebellion against big tech itself. But fast forward to 2026. OpenAI isn't a small lab anymore. It's a $150+ billion company. It runs one of the most expensive computing operations on Earth. It's planning infrastructure on a scale normally reserved for governments. And the word open? Today, it's less a philosophy and more a brand. This is the story of how idealism met economics, and economics won. Chapter 2: The Rebel Alliance, 2015-2018. In its early years, OpenAI genuinely behaved like a scientific movement. The organization was structured as a nonprofit. Its mission wasn't to win the AI race, but to make sure no one else won too much. They released tools like OpenAI Gym, allowing researchers around the world to train reinforcement learning systems. They published papers openly. They collaborated with universities. Their message was clear: AI should belong to everyone. Inside the lab, the culture felt closer to academia than Silicon Valley. Researchers were encouraged to publish. Knowledge flowed outward. There was little focus on products, customers, or revenue. But there was one problem. The future they were chasing wasn't cheap. Training advanced AI models required massive computing clusters, thousands of specialized chips running for weeks or months. Each new generation multiplied the cost. By 2018, the math became impossible. Donations couldn't fund the scale required for artificial general intelligence. The nonprofit structure limited their ability to raise capital, and one of their most high-profile backers, Elon Musk, stepped away from active involvement. For the first time, the mission collided with reality. If OpenAI wanted to build the future, it would have to start playing the game. Chapter 3: The Faustian Bargain, 2019. In 2019, OpenAI made the decision that changed everything. They created a new entity, a capped profit company. It was a strange hybrid. Investors could put in billions, but their returns were limited to a fixed multiple. Above that cap, the profits would flow back to the nonprofit mission. In theory, it preserved the ideals. In practice, it opened the door to capital. Then came the partnership that defined the next phase: Microsoft. Microsoft didn't just invest cash. It gave OpenAI something far more valuable: access to massive cloud infrastructure, supercomputers, specialized hardware, and the ability to scale faster than almost anyone else. Around the same time, OpenAI made another controversial move. When they built GPT-2, they chose not to release the full model publicly, citing concerns about misuse. Critics accused them of abandoning openness. But internally, a different realization was forming. The models weren't just research anymore. They were assets, and assets needed protection. The philosophy hadn't disappeared, but the business logic was taking over. Chapter 4: The Platform Era, 2020-2022. When GPT-3 launched in 2020, OpenAI made a decisive shift. There would be no model download, no open replication. If you wanted access, you had to use their API. Instead of a research lab, OpenAI had become a platform. Developers paid per token. Startups built products on top of OpenAI. Thousands of companies suddenly depended on their infrastructure. Then came November 2022. ChatGPT launched and changed everything. 1 million users in 5 days, tens of millions within weeks. It became the fastest growing consumer application in history. But behind the viral growth was a brutal reality. Every question cost money. Every conversation burned compute. Every new user increased the losses. Scale wasn't just opportunity. It was survival. And survival meant tightening control. Chapter 5, The Boardroom Earthquake, 2023-2024. In November 2023, the tension inside OpenAI finally exploded. The nonprofit board, the guardian of the original mission, fired Sam Altman. Reports suggested concerns about speed, commercialization, and whether the company was prioritizing growth over safety. For a moment, it looked like the nonprofit structure was doing its job. Then, the system pushed back. Employees threatened to leave en masse. Investors panicked, and Microsoft signaled it was ready to hire the entire team if necessary. Within 48 hours, the board collapsed. Sam Altman returned, stronger than before. The new governance structure looked very different. More experienced corporate leadership, stronger alignment with investors, greater focus on execution and scale. The experiment in idealistic oversight had collided with economic gravity, and gravity won. Chapter 6, The Economics of an Empire, 2025 to 2026. By 2026, OpenAI isn't just a company, it's infrastructure. The numbers tell the story. Tens of billions in annual revenue, massive enterprise contracts, consumer subscriptions at global scale. But the costs are just as extreme. Training frontier models now cost billions per generation. Running them costs billions more. The compute demand is so large that new projects involve power planning, chip supply chains, and data center construction at national scale. This is where initiatives like Project Stargate come in, multi-hundred-billion-dollar infrastructure designed specifically for AI. At the same time, OpenAI has been moving toward a public benefit corporation structure, allowing leadership, including Sam Altman, to hold equity. The transformation is complete. OpenAI is no longer a lab. It's a utility for intelligence, and utilities are never open. Chapter 7, The Verdict. OpenAI didn't abandon its mission overnight. It followed a path shaped by physics, economics, and scale. In 2015, it promised to be a shield against AI monopolies. In 2026, it sits at the center of the AI ecosystem, controlling access, setting prices, and defining the pace of progress. Was this a betrayal, or was it inevitable? Maybe building world-changing intelligence simply costs too much for idealism alone. But the question now is bigger than one company. If intelligence becomes infrastructure, if access is controlled, if the gates are closed, then the future depends on whoever holds the keys. And that raises the question that will define the AI era. Is OpenAI building the future for humanity or building a future it owns?